So it's getting colder, and we'll be spending a lot more time indoors, which could be a pathway for the transmission of COVID. There's a lot of research going on in the aerosol science field, which is my expertise, relating to this. And so this airborne transmission could be large droplets when somebody coughs or sneezes. And this is why we say keep the 6 feet of physical distancing. But these could be smaller droplets just simply when we're exhaling breath from our lungs. And so part of this is why we wear masks when we're in public. So if they're worn over the nose and the mouth, these are filtering out some of those droplets. But the smaller droplets that we're breathing out mainly can still get through. And so we probably, if you have glasses like I do, you may notice this when your glasses fog up when you're indoors. Once these smaller droplets are airborne, they can travel longer distances through the air than those larger droplets from coughing. And so because of this, gravity doesn't affect them as much. And because there's liquid, they may evaporate and end up being even smaller particles that can be removed less efficiently by face masks. So obviously, over time, if we're not doing enough to clean the air, these may accumulate in buildings. So Jordan, what are buildings people doing to try and remedy this issue?
So the obvious choice in commercial buildings, we already have a ventilation system in place, is to turn up the ventilation as much as we can. Now often, especially in the deep of winter, that's not a viable option because we're going to add a bunch of thermal load to the space. So we can crank up our ventilation, but only as much as the existing system can handle, right? So that's one easy option. The second thing is to swap out existing filters for a higher efficiency filter, one that will remove those smaller particles that we're interested in that might contain the virus. So people like ASHRAE are giving the recommendation of MERV 13 or higher. MERV 13 or higher is the point at which we start getting some appreciable removal of those small particles. Also, maintaining temperature and humidity recommendations, just normal recommendations for thermal comfort, just ensuring that the humidity is sufficient. And that way, what happens is the particles don't desiccate as quickly, and they tend to fall out of the air more quickly if you don't let the humidity go down, which you don't want to do in the winter anyway for comfort reasons, right? And a simple solution also, when the outdoor conditions allow for it, just opening a window. That's going to bring in a lot of fresh air, dilute the concentration of potential airborne virus, and that can be an effective strategy, very cost-effective one as well. So residences are a little bit different, right? The vast majority of residences in America don't have any dedicated ventilation, which means we're not purposefully bringing any air in with a fan. We rely on natural infiltration driven by wind pressure. And that brings in enough air under typical circumstances to provide acceptable indoor air quality in homes. So we don't just have a fan that we can crank up like we do in commercial buildings. One thing we can do, of course, is increase the efficiency of our filter. So again, MERV 13, MERV 14 or higher, if your fan can handle that. You can, of course, buy a standalone air cleaner for about $100. Some of these are very high removal efficiency.
Yes, those are all interesting things that I've been actually working into some of my course modules for my course that I'm teaching this fall, looking at filtration efficiency and indoor air quality. Is there anything you're doing with your students this semester?
Yeah, we started out, we had our first module in my building physics class was about exactly this. So we did the kind of calculations that everybody's doing, people like me are doing across the country right now. What are the trade-offs between improving the indoor environment and energy consequences? And the students seem to really enjoy that kind of stuff. It's very relevant to their lives right now.